Hello, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Elijah Brown, and this is episode 2 of our movie podcast. I'm here with my good friend Bruce Caudil and Mike Archer. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing well, and you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Elijah Brown over there on the engineering end of our getup. We have changed the name, though. We've changed the name to our podcast. You, Bruce, you still are the movie master, but we've given you a different adjective.
Yes.
The inconceivable.
The inconceivable movie master.
That's kind of the Princess Bride theme there, isn't it?
That's what I was thinking too. Yes.
Well, our reason for changing the name is, for those of you who don't know, Bruce, our movie master, inconceivable movie master, has autism. And we were calling it the autistic movie master, but we were afraid that adjective was no bueno. So we decided to go with the inconceivable movie master. But our whole goal is not only to show off Bruce's unique movie skills, but also bring some awareness to autism. So Bruce, without further ado, movie master, would you tell us a little bit about autism?
Well, everybody's autism is different. Like mine is all about, like, I have trouble with people's vocal tones and stuff because a lot of people with autism have problems with facial expressions. Mine is just names and vocal tones because, like, I remember having it since I was, like, little, and the facial expressions were no problem for me for some reason, but the vocal tones just, like, if somebody was angry, I would think of them as everybody was angry, or if they were angry, if their voice was angry, I would always think that they were, like, furious or something like that. Or if they were upset, I thought that they were, like, mad or something. You know, I never understood the vocal tones and stuff of people's voices.
Yeah, well, generally when somebody's upset, they're kind of mad. But,
but you know
what I don't understand, and you'll forgive my ignorance, and hopefully our listeners the same way.
Okay.
When you say vocal tones and you were having trouble with vocal tones. Yeah. Okay, I get that you were having trouble with them, but so if someone was upset, that would really, it would scare you? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it would. It really would.
So how did you overcome such a thing?
Because
you're much better now, correct?
Yes, I'm much better. Movies have helped me with that too, and my mom has really done
Sweet Melissa, as I call her.
Sweet Melissa, like the Allman Brothers.
Song,
yeah,
yes.
exactly. Yeah, but it's because of, like, my family helped me, and movies, because, like, really focusing on, like, those vocal tones and paying more attention to it, like, because the movies really helped me pay more attention and stuff like that. So
to what, behaviors and
behaviors,
actions?
exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And really that's all acting is, Elijah, is finding a mood and trying to encapsulate it in your behavior.
Yep.
Yes.
Correct?
Very much so.
Now, Elijah Brown over here is, well, he's not just our engineer, but he's also a bit of a movie master himself. You know a little bit about movies, don't you?
yeah, a little.
So an apprentice?
Mostly new stuff. Yeah,
a movie apprentice?
I'm the movie apprentice here. You know?
And you're the youngest
I'm here to learn.
one
I'm here to learn stuff from the two of you.
Well, we're here to learn from you as well.
Yeah.
You're the younger of the three of us. How old are you?
I'm 18.
I hate you already.
Just 18.
No,
yeah.
People okay. My age are completely
I'm not
jealous.
a fan of 83-year-olds either. So.
83? Ouch. Nice shot there. Elijah, you've done some acting. Tell us a little bit about, last week we talked about your memorizing the lines and kind of compare it to how Bruce does, but tell us, how do you find the character inside of you and find some of those moods that we were talking about?
That's a great question, and I think it has to do with one of the main things I've seen is it has a lot to do with the director, honestly, because some people obviously use this thing called method acting, where they get themselves into character by doing crazy things.
Jim Carrey comes to mind.
Yeah, yes. and sometimes the director discourages that. Sometimes the director encourages that. I find it easiest to get into character when my director encourages it. So, for example, I don't know if either of you saw the play I most recently did at Westy Hill with The Diary of Anne Frank.
Yes.
So that one was really easy to get into character because the set was really literally scaled to the exact size that the room would have been in real life. the amount of food we had, the amount of clothes we had. Everything we had was scaled and historical, so it was really easy to get into character for that because our resources were limited and so was our space.
Yes.
So everyone was actually angry at each other and impatient because we were so cramped and so hungry. So I like method acting. So when the director encourages it, it really does help, because if you're actually cramped in a small space, it makes it very easy to get angry at people like you would if they bumped into you for the 50th time that day, trying to just sit on the couch, grab your carrot to munch on, and it made it pretty easy. So yeah,
now, Bruce,
that's one way.
You've done some acting.
Yes, I have.
How do you think you would handle the method acting that Elijah just described? Everybody kind of grumpy at each other.
Like, stay in character a lot. Like, there was this one. Remember the play I told you about, greetings and stuff like that. Like, when my character being having a disability like autism, it's. I mean, of course I have autism and stuff, but his is like nonverbal and all that. Doing that, I just think back of how I was back then, and like you stay in character, and you just like you take it with you too, even at home, like so you won't forget or something like that, or you'll.
Well, I imagine your
like
family
that,
was
yeah.
probably can't stand it.
If
you bring that grumpiness home.
No, yeah, but I mean, if it's all for like being part of the actor that you're supposed to be in the play, being good and stuff, I guess. That's so be it.
And the main reason why we're doing this is not just to talk about movies. That just happens to be your bailiwick, as they say.
Yes.
But we're trying to draw some attention to the fact that just because somebody has autism does not mean that they can't do and function in many regards. You have a job as well. You work right. By the way, we're broadcasting from Danville, Kentucky. If you're outside the area, Danville, Kentucky, near Center College. And Bruce works at the Hub Coffee Shop. And, it's funny because I don't know if you guys knew this, but I used to play music for Disney. Did you know that?
I did not.
I know.
Yeah.
Surprise.
One of the things that they teach you at Disney is no matter what your job is, and listeners, pay attention to this, no matter what your job is, you're always, quote unquote, on stage. So you can't there's no excuse for having a bad day when you're on stage. True. Whatever it is, you put it, you compartmentalize it, and then you go about your day.
Yes.
Bruce, you've got to do that, don't you, at the Hub when you're doing your job?
It's easier said than done, but yes.
Of course it is.
Yes, I just...
we have to try to do that.
Yeah, like, you can, like, keep it inside, and you can also have to whisper it under your breath or something like that, but, like, not show it, because, like, if you show it, it shows a bad image of the place. Of course. And, like... I'm guilty of like been doing that a while back ago, but the thing that I've learned from that is just having the people I work with help me out so much and understand what I mean with my disability, having to like have like so much. I mean, like with having like anxiety and stuff and stress, like having to feel what it's like being in the working environment. It's just it can be hard, but also it can be a good experience for like with my autism to understand like what everybody goes through and like to take it easy, and it's all good. Yeah.
So Elijah, it sounds to me like no matter what your job is, Bruce just described that when you're working with others, it's like a cast, isn't it?
Yes. It very much is. Yes. Yeah.
And when that person comes in, there are people, and this drives me nuts, but there are people that when they're getting ready the evening to go out to eat, their sole purpose is to complain until they get a free meal out of it. And I feel like that's stealing.
Yes.
But you, as an employee, you have to deal with it. You have to handle that. And boy, you want to talk about acting.
Yeah.
I want to tell them where to go and how to get there.
Yeah, exactly. Just it's fine. I actually want to strangle you right now, but
That's right. You can't do that. You'll end up in pokey.
No way.
Yep.
And also, we made reference to West T. Hill, and that is a community theater right here in Danville, Kentucky, and it is really a fantastic. I've seen some community theater. This is a fantastic place. And if you get a chance to see a performance there, I highly recommend it. I think you all would agree. And we've all been in plays at West T Hill. So
Yeah, even better if you can watch one of us in one, you know.
Yes.
well, yeah,
Yes,
because we're
yes.
'Cause
clearly
we're the best there is, you know.
And that brings up another point before we move on to our review of last week. That's another thing I always like to point out is the fact that it is so easy to sit here and criticize actors, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Boy, is
Yes,
it it's
Yes,
difficult
it
to
is.
actually do it, isn't it?
They
Yes.
suck.
Yes. I don't know about you all, but my range as far as acting is not very good. I need some practice. And it never hurts to take
Yeah,
some
you
classes,
do, Mike.
does it?
You did.
Amen.
I'm kidding.
No, you didn't have to say that publicly. Let's talk about last week.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Mike. Yeah.
We're moving on. We're moving.
Okay.
Stop that. I'm gonna cry. I don't cry. Not publicly. Let's review last week's. Last week's podcast was our first podcast, and I mentioned before that as we do these podcasts, they will get better. And we will probably
Hopefully.
evolve. Yeah, I mean, we can't get any worse, I don't think. So, yeah, it'll evolve. So what we have today, I mean, already we've changed the name.
Right,
So it is
right.
now the Inconceivable Movie Master. Last week
Take
reviewed
one. We'll see how it sticks for next week.
Anyway.
might be a different name every week.
Yeah,
Who knows?
exactly.
Last week we reviewed Going My Way from 1944. That was Bruce's contribution. Now, the reason Bruce brings us the old movies, first of all, he has such a vast knowledge of all movies. He certainly has more of a knowledge of older movies than we do.
Yes.
And the idea is to bring movies to our younger audience that don't like older movies. And when we talk about older movies, we're talking about black and white. We're
my
even talking
gosh,
about
yes.
silent films.
Yes, yes.
And,
Black and white. What movies used to be in black and white?
Black and white. They've even made a couple recent
Yes.
movies.
Well,
The Artist.
The Artist, yes.
Yeah.
And there was one
It's becoming more of a
Schindler's List.
Schindler's List.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Cold Wars. That was a good
Yeah.
one too. That's on Amazon Prime.
It's now an aesthetic thing, you know. So it's like people do it on purpose.
Absolutely. So Going My Way, that was with Bing Crosby. You
Yes.
brought that a fantastic movie. If you get a chance to see it, of course we recommend it. And Elijah, we have a Gmail account, correct? That
Yes, we do.
would you? Please give
Yeah.
it to us?
Hold on. Let me
Gotta
read
pull
it out.
And the point of
And
giving
I'm
this
probably gonna
email
have to
is
change it.
you as a listener can actually send us emails and comment on the movies. Yeah, some suggestions for movies that maybe you like. But hopefully these movies, we're trying to intentionally pick movies that might have slipped through the cracks over the years. Because everybody talks about Wizard of Oz. Everybody talks about, The Godfather. But we're going to try to talk about movies that are not only very, very good, but maybe ones that have been overlooked. And hopefully you'll watch the movie, you the listener,
Yes.
and then give us some feedback. You liked it for this reason. You didn't like it for this reason, whatever the case may be. Elijah?
Yeah. So, if anybody has any questions or comments or something they
Trivia?
want to, trivia, something they want to talk about this particular movie, or ask questions about where to find it, you can email us at moviemasters030@gmail.com.
Moviemasters030. Is that 0?
030. Yep. No capitalizations, no periods, no commas, nothing. Just moviemasters030@gmail.com.
Perfect. And yeah, that's great. And by the way, Elijah, just so you know, when you put our last podcast up on the YouTube, fantastic. Looks good.
Yes.
The picture looks great.
Oh,
Everything's
yeah,
best.
great. That was unfortunately my second one. I had a much better one, and then they put a watermark over it. And
The second movie Elijah brought to us was from 1999, The Prince of Egypt. It was an animated film, and well done. It's a very well done movie. There were some famous actors that did that were in the cast, obviously.
voice acting, yeah.
And if you happen to be of the Christian faith, it's a story you've heard before.
yeah, exactly. Which is why it's interesting,
Exactly.
because me as a Christian, it's like I've heard the story a million times.
Yes, we all
And
have.
to see it retold as a different,
Uh-huh.
in different light is like, oh, wow.
Yep. Why not?
That's cool.
I brought to the table a movie I grew up with, The Natural. Did anybody watch it by chance? I know you've seen it, Bruce, but
Yeah, it's really good. The only thing though is it has Kevin
Kevin?
Kevin?
Costner?
Dances with Wolves. Yeah, when
Kevin
Kevin
Costner
Costner.
was not in The Natural.
No. Kevin.
From Dances with Wolves? From Dances
Yes.
with Wolves?
That
Hold
would
on.
be
What
Kevin
is
Costner.
going on with me?
Let's look
today?
look
Yeah.
it up.
Movie Master. No, Robert Redford was the main character in The Natural.
Oh, what? Why am I mixing him? With...
Because it's another baseball movie.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah,
Yeah.
Robert Redford. Okay. Anyway, sorry about that.
That's all right.
Okay.
Hey, that happens.
Robert Redford. He's a good actor. The only thing though is, sometimes, not all the times, but sometimes he can play the same character over and over. You know what I mean? Like
No, I know exactly what you mean.
Oh,
And
like
this is-
like Will Smith.
and like
Yeah.
or dare I be the one to say Jack Nicholson? Every movie he's ever in,
Yes.
he's
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson.
Yeah,
being
yeah, yeah,
this.
yeah.
So
Like,
No,
that's-
no, no. I'll
Shining,
agree.
And he's great.
Yeah,
He is great.
So great.
But you're right. I haven't seen him play too many different characters besides.
I know.
He's got
crazy-
He's got the same range as I do.
He's
Yeah, exactly.
awesome, though. I mean, he rocks.
Well, I mean,
Oh, no, I'm serious.
it
Yes,
brings
I
up a
know,
great
yeah.
point. Some great actors only have like one area that they're good in, and that's all they're cast for.
Well, and we talked about this in the past. And we'll probably talk about this more as we
lot
go.
more.
Is that there's a difference between a great actor and a superstar, movie superstar.
That's Yep. right.
Jack Nicholson makes great movies. He does really, really well for who he is. But does he have that great of a range? I don't think so.
No.
But that's just my opinion. And that's the beauty of this. We all have our opinions, don't we?
I shouldn't have given out that email because now I'm gonna get a bucket load of all these. Jack Nicholson is the best. Don't.
Yeah.
No, we're not saying that he's not. He's good. He is a very good.
And I hold it against him. He's a Lakers fan, but I digress.
He rocks.
All right.
He rocks.
Bruce, let's move on.
Okay, let's do it.
Bruce's old movie today that he's bringing to us, 1934. It happened one night. I watched it. Tell us about it.
You watched it
It's
without me,
really
Mike?
good.
I did. You didn't come over.
It was
my
made.
gosh.
It was made in 1934.
It was.
It stars Clark Gable as Peter Warren,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard to pronounce her name, Claudia
Colbert.
Colbert. Yeah, as
Claudette Colbert.
Oh, yes,
Claudette
yeah.
Colbert. Yeah, there you go.
yeah. Anyway, she plays Ellie Andrews.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really good movie about Peter is this journalist that finds out that Ellie, this woman he meets at this bus stop, Ellie, and he finds out that she's marrying a king
Mm-hmm.
named Wesley, and she's in New York trying to get to him.
Well, they start in Miami.
Right. They
That's
start.
why they
Yeah,
catch
they're
the
on
bus.
a boat, yeah, or
Yeah.
ship or whatever. She escapes because her father refuses her to.
And that's the funny
Yes,
thing. She
yes.
simply just jumped off
Yeah,
that thing,
jumped
swam,
off,
and they're like,
yes.
"We can't find her.
Yes,
we
exactly.
lost her. She's swimming in the ocean."
It's the ocean,
But I digress. Continue.
Yeah. And then when when they meet each other, Peter and Ellie. He starts to bribe her. He knows who she is. He finds out who she is,
Mhm.
and then
There's like a $10,000
Yeah,
reward
yes,
to bring her
and
home.
yes, exactly. And then he says that he just wants the story from her. So that's why he's not really kidnapping her. Really,
No.
he's just like he's just like
He wants to do the story.
the story exactly.
And by the way, at the
Yeah,
very
yeah.
beginning, he got fired. If
got
you remember
fired,
correctly,
exactly,
from
yeah,
the newspaper.
on the phone.
On
Yeah,
the phone.
exactly.
He was
Exactly. yeah.
drunk.
Yeah, oh my god! Yes, he was. And so, but then they have this chemistry. I mean, like they become like friends, and then things like turn into like you all heard the movie Roman Holiday. It felt
Mhm.
exactly like that. It was
This
so-
story has
yes,
been
yes.
told in a million different
Yeah,
ways.
I love it.
Yes.
Love it.
And yeah, the trip, and it was kind of controversial at the time. Now you got to
Yes.
remember, this is 1934. Clark
Mhm.
Gable. There's a scene where it's raining real bad. The bus gets stuck. Whatever. They end up staying at a little hotel room. By the way, I think it was like
Yes.
$2 for the night or something.
Yes.
Yeah,
Dang,
it goes
I
to show
wish.
you what how times have changed. But he's changing clothes. He's getting into his sleepwear. They hang up a blanket. You can take a string. They run across half the room and they put a blanket up. He takes off his shirt. And he had no T-shirt on underneath, so he was bare chested. Now that means nothing to anyone today, but back then, that was no. You
Nope.
don't do that.
And then after I found out after this is a legend. I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard from my parents that after that movie, people had stopped wearing undershirts.
That's right.
Undershirts.
That's exactly
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
The T-shirt sales in America just plummeted because of that movie.
Oh my
because
gosh.
Clark
Yes.
Gable, and that's
Clark Gable did
really
that
how
one.
influenced we
Yes.
are by movies,
Uh-huh.
isn't it?
It's
Yes.
very. It's.
There's
that's
also
great
a
point.
scene where they're hitchhiking. You remember that?
Oh
scene.
my gosh! Yes.
They're hitchhiking. They're trying to catch a ride. By the way, I don't know if you know this, but the skipper on
Gilligan's Island.
Gilligan's Island,
Yes.
Alan Hale Jr. His father was the guy that stopped for them
Oh.
on the hit. They were hitchhiking. He was trying to. It's kind of a funny scene where he's telling Claudette Colbert. That's difficult for me to say. He's trying how to use his thumb to hitchhike, and everybody's passing.
Yes.
So she goes over and she hikes up her skirt, shows off her leg. Again, very, very controversial.
Yes.
And in 1934,
Oh my gosh.
the car comes screeching to a halt. And of course, it was a Model T, I think.
I would love.
And
to
it
see
was Alan Hale Sr., who was the father of the skipper on. Yeah, a little trivia for you.
Speaking of,
And a show I've actually seen.
if
There you go.
Fortunately.
probably in people were in theaters and they saw that, I would have loved to seen their expression.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, my God.
Oh, and by the way, I did a little research on this, Bruce. You'd be proud to hear this. I did a little research on this. Apparently, they had a body double for Claudette at the time, and she said something smart like, "Well, let's see, what she's got." She hiked up and she says, "Oh, we can do better than that." And then she actually did it herself. So isn't that a great line?
Yeah, she can't do it. Oh, come on.
So if you get a chance to see that, it happened one night.
That's funny.
It was one of 3 movies
Yes.
to win the Big 5 Oscars. That's
Yes.
that would be best
Picture,
Picture,
best director, best actress,
actor,
best
actress.
actor, and best adapted screenplay.
That's exactly right.
Yes,
And
yes.
do you know what the other 2 are? It happened one night, did.
Oh yeah,
And by the way, Jack Nicholson's in one of them.
Oh,
One
my
Flew Over
gosh.
the Cuckoo's
That's
Nest,
right.
Yep, and The Silence of the Lambs,
Yep,
one of my
1991.
favorite scary movies of all time.
You were watching that the other day
Yes,
when
I
we
was.
came over here, weren't
Yes,
you?
I was.
So it happened one night, 1934. If you've never seen the movie, I watched it, and let me give you my synopsis of it, if I may, because I hadn't seen it before. I thought it was entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with that movie is you really have to put yourself in 1934 because that story has been told a number of times where a rich girl is getting ready to get married, but she doesn't want to marry the guy, so she runs off and she ends up falling in love with just some lowlife or whatever that everybody, the dad, and then you've seen that plot a million times.
Yeah.
Oh my.
How do you get from here to there? So you've got to really get that out of your mind that this is probably, I think this is the first time that
It started,
story
this
had
is-
been done, yeah.
And then it picked up. Yeah.
exactly, and that's why the movie won so many awards. So if you should go to what is the name of that movie? Is it Turner Classics?
Oh yeah, Turner Classic Movies.
That movie's on there. So if you're like me, you'll look ahead a little bit and see if it's
Yes.
going to be on during the week. DVR it. When you get time, watch it. I recommend it. And then send us an email and let us know your review. And Elijah, could you give us that email once again? And I'll put you on the spot.
Moviemasters030@gmail.com.
And since we're talking to you now, you brought us a movie.
I did.
It is called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Now, I've got a bone to pick with you before you start.
A much more recent movie.
It's like 2018 recent.
Did you
But-
watch it?
Well, here's the thing. I went to Netflix to watch it Friday. Not on Netflix.
It's not on Netflix.
You
no.
told me it was on
Oh,
Netflix.
I did.
You did.
I
I
thought I did.
Oh.
I went back and listened. I went back and listened to the podcast.
My anger,
I didn't tell you.
My anger is
I
inappropriately
made
sent your way. Let
Oh
me send
my
this to
gosh.
Bruce.
I made
Bruce,
a mistake.
Bruce!
You told us.
I
Hold on a second. Which one's the main on here? So
Yeah,
whenever
really.
we get angry, I can turn it down.
I'll get-
So what I did was I watched some scenes on YouTube as recently as like 20 minutes ago. Not 20 minutes ago, maybe an hour ago. And it looked pretty interesting. So tell us about it.
Okay. Yeah.
Tell us about the movie that you brought to us, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Okay, so Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is the first movie of this new series, which is the prequel series to the Harry Potter series, a very popular and very successful
Well, I
series.
started noticing some interesting names in there, but
Yes, and so that one was pretty well accepted. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I was
accepted by critics.
yeah,
Box office. or
accepted
what? Yeah.
accepted by the general audience.
Okay.
Yes,
and
so
it got an Oscar, the first Harry Potter movie. Well, prequel.
It did,
Yeah,
it did.
to win an
Yes.
Oscar. Yeah.
It did very well, and it was good. The second one, however, which is called The Crimes of Grindelwald, which is the one I want to bring up specifically, was not accepted well by critics.
Okay.
And not, I saw some audience members that weren't all
I know.
psyched about it too. I went to watch it without reading any reviews or looking at what the critics thought because I wanted to have my own opinion on it.
Good. That's a great idea.
Yeah,
That's the best
so
way to do it.
I wanted to know, and so because then I knew that my ideas wouldn't be warped by what everyone else thought.
Yeah.
I was expecting this movie to get a flat out like 10 out of 10 on IMDb or something. I loved this movie,
No.
and it's It's highly underrated. I just don't know what else to say about it. So basically, it's in the first one. For anybody who knows anything about Harry Potter, I mean, that's a whole nother subject. There's this whole backstory between one of the main characters, who's Dumbledore, the headmaster of the school. And they talk about one of his old friends, whose name is Gellert Grindelwald. I think that's how I pronounce it.
Yes,
In the Harry Potter books, there's a few flashbacks where they talk about them as old, as old enemies, but we never really hear the story of it. You know, it's kind of a.
Wait a minute here. We made a mistake. This movie came out in 2016.
Fantastic Beasts did, but The Crimes of Grindelwald came out in 2018. Is
that what we're supposed to watch? Crimes of Grindelwald?
Yeah.
Daggone it. I have written down
you watched the
Fantastic Beasts and where to find them.
You should have Crimes of... Because I remember you wrote down Crimes of Grindelwald before that.
I don't think I did.
Let me see.
I don't think I did. Yep, see? That was from last week. So I watched a completely wrong movie.
Well, you know what? That's okay.
That's all right. Well,
that's good because now you can watch the second one and it'll make a little bit more sense.
Very good. So continue.
Yeah. I thought the original Fantastic Beasts actually was on Netflix.
I know, me too.
And you didn't see it on there.
Nothing with Fantastic Beasts.
So they must have taken it down.
They must have.
Right. Okay.
Oh, well.
Well, in that case, your anger towards both of us is correct.
My fury is rising.
Yes.
You can do like 3 Stooges and slap us.
Yeah, we're not gonna blame you for that one.
Right.
But yes, so basically the first one actually kind of hints that they're going to tell the story.
Yeah, I'm confused. What is the first one?
The first one is
this one we're talking about?
It's literally just an introduction. I'll just do a brief synopsis of the first one.
And what was the name of this one?
The Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Okay, that's the first one. That's the one I started to watch.
Just simply called that.
Got it.
And the main character in that it's about him writing a book about called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Gotcha.
And he's writing it about, Fantastic Beasts, and he's also telling people, can you guess? Where to find them.
Oh,
so
I'm trying hard to follow, man.
In the Harry Potter movies, Harry Potter has to study this book in school.
Right.
But this is long after, the writer has, passed on and all that. So basically it's him starting to write this book. It's him just discovering all these beautiful creatures and, just making his way through trying to become rich and famous, you know what I'm saying?
And who are we talking about? We're talking about Newt?
Newt Scamander, yep. Okay. That's correct. And they kind of hinted at the fact that they were going to also tell the story of Dumbledore and Grindelwald.
Yes.
And their whole spiel with each other.
And people who watch Harry Potter have every idea who these people are.
Yes,
right?
Yes, they do.
I don't
and
have
so
a clue.
this was very exciting because this is a story we never got, and we weren't told that we were going to get it either. We just thought it was going to be just a fun little thing about beautiful creatures
like what if,
people made up. And then they brought in the character kind of out of the blue, Grindelwald, the big enemy of the past, and to have that character be brought to light was a pretty exciting moment. But they ended the movie. Right
so they're leaving it for more. Huh?
So it was a huge the first one. So obviously the Crimes of Grindelwald was something that everybody was very excited about because they were actually going to say like, hey, you're gonna get this backstory and it's gonna be pretty interesting. So yeah.
So I have some homework now.
Oh great.
The only thing I have to say is that I don't know why the critics and the audience.
Yeah, I think we need to talk about.
It was.
We need to talk about this because the first thing that's fantastic about the movie is just the introduction.
Yes.
The introduction could not have been more perfect.
Amen.
The music, I'm not going to spoil how it starts because it's actually really important, but it's extremely exciting. It throws you right into the action. Visual effects are out the door.
Yes.
The whole story is driven with so much excitement because you've just seen the first one, and so there's all this mystery hanging about, and they keep introducing these new characters,
Exactly.
and you find out they're related in one way or another, and then it just keeps building onto this crazy backstory that nobody's known, and so just to have that kind of excitement driven in a movie is something I love.
It's
just
making
where
me excited right now.
I never know what character's gonna do what. Or what character ends up actually being a bad guy, or it's a very exciting and just classic kind of It's
that's
very
a testament to great
movie.
writing, wouldn't you say?
Heck
yes, and
so
that's
let me
why,
ask you a question: have they won any Oscars on that?
It didn't get nominated.
It didn't win
I know.
anything.
Wow.
I think it should have gone at least for visual effects or like
Yeah.
score for.
And
one.
the score was
Yeah,
just incredible, written by
exactly.
James Newton Howard, who's done
Exactly.
like The Dark Knight and like Hunger
Yes.
Games, all those big ones.
Amen.
And it's just interesting to me because what the critics were saying was like it was too much, it was too exciting, there was too much
Yes.
going on, and I was
Well,
like,
Well,
that's
that's
Potter.
and I was like, that's what I
Harry
liked.
Potter,
That's what I liked about it.
Yeah.
Because Harry Potter fans, I mean, I don't know if you might not be a Harry Potter fan, so
I've never seen any.
so
of it.
so for you if you watched it, you probably wouldn't have liked it because you didn't know what was going on.
Mhm.
But for me, as a Harry Potter fan, someone who's seen
Yes.
the movies, read the books, I watched this and I was just beside myself. Like I couldn't believe what I was seeing, what I was being told.
I
So,
probably need to open my mind
Heck yes.
to the Harry Potter series.
Heck
Bruce,
yes.
you can help me with that, can't you?
Yes,
I don't
can.
know what the first movie is.
First movie is the sorcerer, the real
Uh-huh.
or yeah, the Sorcerer's Stone.
Or it's also been renamed the Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah, the
And
Philosopher's
been called that a
So-
couple times too.
So if you were somebody like me and you wanted to watch the prequels that you're talking about
Mm-hmm.
before, it still wouldn't mess anything up.
Before you watched Harry Potter,
Mhm.
you see that's the interesting thing because I don't think you might not find the two very exciting if you don't know anything about Harry Potter.
Ah, gotcha.
You know, which
It's
I
there
think
for a
is where the
reason.
critics were coming from. But the thing I didn't understand was that the critics had all said that they liked Harry Potter, so obviously they'd
Yes,
seen it. So I read reviews and I actually didn't understand where they were coming from. So I loved it.
Yes.
So
I don't want to say anything like that.
I don't want to offend anybody
Yeah,
who
but
didn't like
they-
that movie.
They must have
No,
been
no, no, no,
on
no, 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 no. No, you can't do that. If you offend somebody, that's on them. That's not
Yes.
because
Yeah.
it's
No,
so
no,
subjective.
no.
That's
Whoever
what
you are, if you
art
didn't like
is.
that movie, forget you.
Yes,
No,
I'm
no,
not-
no. You don't have to be like that either. But
Right.
you have your opinion, and that's what you're
That's
here
true.
for, is
Yeah.
to give your
You're
opinion.
right.
Yeah.
You're
And there's no
right.
right or wrong. That's the beauty of art, and that's why I kind of worry about critics, even us.
Yeah.
As we're sitting here, if we
we
say
are
we don't
critics,
like
yeah.
a movie, it doesn't mean don't watch it. Make up your own mind. Decide
Yeah,
if you like
yes.
it, and
You're right.
then tell me I'm crazy.
That kind of reminds
Yeah,
me.
that.
That kind of reminds me of my movement that I'm doing called Peace, Love, and Harmony. But
Uh-huh.
it's not about movies. It's about people like coming together, whether they have same opinions on people or not, or something like that.
Can
like
I just
whether,
say, Bruce, what a perfect segue.
whether
I don't
yeah,
know.
I know whether it's,
don't
whether
know.
it's a person you know or like a person in the political world or something. If it's somebody you like or don't like, it shouldn't define who you are as a human being, because like
Mhm.
you are your own person and you can still get along with somebody no matter what. And whether you like the person that's in this like political state or not, you can and the person that you like doesn't, you can still be friends and not share the same opinion, because the opinions don't define who you are as a person.
Mhm.
Because opinions are just another thing what you like or not.
Everybody's
and I
got 'em.
think I think we need to, and that's my movement's about, like, we should stop arguing and stop fighting each other because of that.
Yeah,
and
Mike,
just
stop arguing with me, man.
I'll argue with
stop
I'll
it.
argue with that
and-
chair over there.
and riot or something like that, and just come together as one, because we, not only as just people of this country, but all around the world, no matter if we agree or disagree, we are all one in the eyes of God, no matter who we believe in.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I believe.
Yeah. Wow,
Well.
I'm glad I got that on recording.
Yeah,
That was-
really.
That was good. That was good stuff right there.
Soapbox time.
Yes, yes.
But that brings up an interesting point, and we kind of tapped on it on our first podcast. We've kind of tapped on it here. We'll talk about that just a little bit more, about the superstars versus great actors.
Yes.
Now, do you realize that there's a whole study done? It's kind of a psychological thing, that people make opinions of actors and female actors
I know.
based on what they look like, and they make that decision. Lickety split.
Immediately, yep.
And we're all guilty of it.
Like,
Yep.
yeah, exactly.
Well,
Like,
'cause
Is that fair?
Let's use Jack Nicholson for example,
Yes.
since we were just
Yes.
talking about him. He looks like a creepy guy.
but
So
He also looks like my uncle.
exactly,
You know, so-
yeah. Well, I mean,
my uncle's creepy.
yeah.
But,
Well, so are you, Mike. So you know.
anyway.
So, but I mean, he's played so many creepy roles, and they make him look creepy in these roles.
Yes.
So when you look
Yeah.
at him, your opinion, of course, is, wow, he's a creepy guy.
quick, favorite Jack Nicholson movie?
I'll tell you mine.
One. You got to pick one.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna
As good as it gets.
That's a good one.
Batman.
Oh, he's a great Joker.
Yeah,
I
wasn't
like
he?
this Joker.
the
Yeah.
Joker in that
So
is-
yeah.
Yeah, it's a toughie on my part, but I'm going to go with hello. I'm gonna go with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yes,
that's probably
yes,
my
yes.
favorite.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
But he's been in so many good movies.
I know. Yeah. Like,
Anyway,
I was gonna say another favorite of mine, but like, I'll just say like, but since we're allowed to just pick one, I was gonna say my second one was A Few Good Men, because his character in that was pretty intense. But like that line when he said you can't handle the truth, you were listening to him and you were like, you were listening to him and you were like, he does have sense, but then you realize who he is and what he did and stuff. That's the power of Jack Nicholson for you. You can listen to him. He can be so evil, but you're like, you can't stop listening to him.
Yeah, it's that whole thing, because some actors, they may be only good at playing one kind of character, but the thing about that is that if they're only good at playing that one kind of character, they're so much better at everybody else at it because that's all they've been doing. So they're like, their experience level on playing like a creepy character is like way above anybody else's. Because like, you take a person like Johnny Depp, who's played every single character in the book.
Yes.
He's great at all of those. But, Jack Nicholson playing a creepy guy probably has a couple hedges above him because he's been doing nothing but playing like intense characters. Whereas Johnny Depp's played,
Do you think
all the
that
others.
sometimes an actor's looks kind of lends themselves to that role?
I really do. I really do.
Well, I think more recently, no, because of makeup.
True.
Because
that brings up a good point. You mentioned Johnny Depp.
Yeah,
That's one of
and
the,
never
that's-
looks like himself.
right,
yeah.
and that's one of the knocks he gets from critics is that does he have to hide behind those to be that character?
Yeah. Which he doesn't always. I think more recently he has, which probably has a bit to do with the fact that he's getting a little bit old, and so again, though, I don't really think he should fear that. I think he should just embrace it. But
You say that now. You're 18.
yeah. I think I should embrace my young age. Hey, I've
Yes,
played
yes.
adults. I've played adults before, so I can say it from the opposite end of
Playing
the
it
spectrum.
to being it.
I'm
baby.
kidding.
Johnny Depp
I'm
is
kidding.
so good.
Don't execute me
I
for that.
go for jogs through Center College's campus.
Yeah.
And those kids, they move out of my way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah.
They
get-
like, oh boy.
Yeah, here's a psycho killer right there.
Can I say one last thing about Johnny
No,
Depp?
you can't. Yes, of course you can.
Say as many
Okay,
things as you want about Johnny Depp.
My latest favorite movie of his is probably Black Mass, because him with that makeup and playing White Vulture, I was like,
Yes.
Say, what's the title again?
gosh.
Black Mass, right?
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
I've
Black Mass.
heard of
Haven't
that.
seen that.
It is his best performance
Okay.
since.
In that one, he didn't look at all like himself.
I know,
because they made
exactly,
him. He was like clean shaven. He was like
Yes.
almost bald, and he
Yes.
was like.
His accent was just.
I mean, he was
my gosh.
he was terrifying in
Yes,
that. He was
he
he was
Yes, he
creepy
was.
looking.
Yes, he was.
All right. Last week we talked about our favorite actors and actresses, and we gave 3. You had time to think on that. Did you stay with your same?
Yeah, the
list?
same people. Same people.
No,
So
I
you
got
were on it.
I've got a couple. I've got 2 more
Okay.
that I would like to maybe swap out or at least just add.
Okay.
That just didn't come to me at the time, but David Tennant.
David Tennant. Don't know who is David
boy.
Tennant.
Okay, so we're gonna have to talk
looking
to
now.
Bruce on that one. So Bruce, you've seen Doctor Who,
Oh, I think I know who you're
the
talking
Doctor
about.
from the 2nd season of Doctor Who, and then have you seen Jessica Jones
Just the
on Netflix?
Netflix.
He
yes,
played the
yeah,
villain in that as well.
Yes.
Yes.
He's
Okay.
from Scotland. This guy.
Yes,
Yes. Now I knew it. I
Yes.
knew it. I knew it.
He-
I knew it. Yeah.
I will watch. I look for movies and shows. He's one of those. He's one of those actors. Now this is great because we were talking about this.
Right.
He's one of those actors. I don't care if the show is bad. I don't care if the movie's bad. If he's in it, I will watch it.
Yes.
Because I love watching him perform so much
Yes.
that the story could be crap,
my
and I will still enjoy that movie or show.
That is
So-
probably the best compliment you can give an actor.
There's
Yeah,
there's
he's-
a lot of
he's
actors
just-
like that too. Yes,
and
yes.
I
He's
don't care what he does.
Yes.
He's so
Mhm.
up there with just the emotional level of acting. I mean, highly recommend. Go see the 1st season of Jessica Jones because he's the villain in it, or go see Doctor Who if you're a nerd.
Yes, yes, yes,
So,
I'm trying to find something with David Tennant in it that I might have seen, and I probably need to be a little bit more aware of this gentleman.
Well, he does. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that he's been in that I haven't seen, despite the fact what I just said, that I look for stuff that he's been in. But because he's in a lot of stuff that's hard to find.
Yeah.
Is a good way to.
Well, that's what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah.
I've got his list of credits here, and wow, I've never heard
Of any of that stuff.
Well, How to Train Your Dragon comes to mind. I'm not much ado about
Was he
nothing.
in How to Train Your Dragon?
Apparently so. Oh, he just did a voice. I see here.
Which voice?
Yeah, which one?
Spittle out, spittle out, spittle out.
Oh, I knew that.
That.
Yes.
I know what you're
He is also a voice actor. I forgot about that too.
Yeah, he's
been
got a
in-
lot of cartoons.
He does cartoons, video games, and
When I
yeah.
think of How to Train Your Dragon, I'm thinking of Gerard Butler. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm not.
Yes,
I'm not
yes,
thinking.
yes.
I'm not thinking about
Yeah, I
David
know,
Tennant
I
when I'm
know,
thinking
I
How to
know.
Train Your Dragon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Turtles,
What's
yes.
going on with me?
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he TV series
What are you looking at his credits on?
IMDb.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the voice of the
Wow.
the Fugitoid.
Now I feel really dumb.
Yeah. He's a Family Guy. He played Doctor Who. Go figure, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
Ferdinand, You, Me, and Him. All right. Well, I'll have to pay more attention to that. Bruce, is there an actor that comes to mind that you'll watch anything? It doesn't even matter how bad the movie is. He always gives a good performance.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
You're a Leonardo fan.
There's
Yeah, I think you talked about that last week
there's
too.
a few movies like Body of Lies. The movie wasn't really that great, but Leonardo, I mean, he can play I don't know, somebody you really despise, but you love watching every minute of his
that's a good point.
performance,
It's a good point.
Like, it's really cool.
That's interesting though, because I remember what you just said about like the actors' faces, kind of like either
Yes.
maybe turning you off to them or giving you an opinion. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Bruce.
What?
Don't kill me for this.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
But I felt that way when I first started seeing Leonardo DiCaprio. I
In
don't
a
like
good
don't
or-
like the guy's face.
Oh, okay. And that's how subjective it is. Yeah.
So every time, but like why the reason I'm saying that is just to bring up like your point is because when I watched a movie with him in it, I was like, oh, I was so wrong. I shouldn't have judged him like that. You know what I'm saying? He's fantastic. But when I first started looking at like what he looks like and like the characters he's played, I was like, I don't know about this guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't, but it's a good point because I've gone to watch his movies and he's actually really good. So
Yeah, I'm just
don't
joking.
do
I
that thing where you judge
No,
people
no.
by their appearances.
the first movie I can remember him in was Romeo and Juliet.
Oh yeah.
Did you see that?
Oh, that's right. He was in that.
And,
But-
Was that before or after Titanic?
It was
Oh, that was before,
Titanic.
yeah.
No,
like,
yeah. Because you're talking about the
1996,
old.
yeah.
Yeah.
he was on a TV show, Growing Pains.
Oh my gosh.
Back in the day, but I didn't make the connection.
He started
I
young. He
Yeah,
started
sure
young,
did.
Then
really
he was
young.
in Parenthood, the show. Did you know that? There was a show,
Parenthood.
Yeah.
Oh, the TV show.
TV show.
I said
Yeah.
the
Since
movie
then,
was
he's
just on
been
the other day.
and since then he's been in literally
yeah,
like
exactly.
every kind of movie you can
Literally?
possibly imagine.
He is like
Literally.
Literally.
his next movie
Literally.
is with Quentin Tarantino again, called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And I gotta tell you,
Oh yeah, I
got-
saw.
that trailer and that movie. Oh my gosh,
That looks
I mean,
exciting.
It looks, and having like based on like the what's it called? Oh yeah, the Charles Manson time and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be like, this screams Quentin Tarantino. I'm excited. I'm really
love
ready.
Quentin Tarantino.
Yes.
Let's get to the female actors
Yes,
part of this.
yes.
Does your
Yeah,
list stay the same as it was
thing.
last time?
I think mine stays the same.
Okay.
I've had some time to think about it, but still,
To check that, by the way, for our listener to save time here, go ahead and check out our first podcast, and you'll know exactly who we're talking about. Is there a female actor that just one, just like the men, that no matter what she's in, she's fantastic?
I would have to say, I'm not gonna lie, I really love Julia Roberts' character playing like every single role. Even like, remember when she was in like Hook or something like that?
Yes, she played
When she-
Tinkerbell.
I can't help but stop looking at her. She is just not just because she's pretty. She is pretty, but
Yeah.
she has her personality, her performance. I mean, her presence on screen is just amazing.
Yeah,
I love it.
I agree with you there.
You got any that you want to throw in there?
I like I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to think. I've seen because some of the actresses that I would bring to mind, I've watched movies that were really bad.
Yes.
And I actually didn't like their performance in it, and so I took back what I thought originally. Like, oh, I'd watch any movie with them, but it's like I kind of disagree. But I like most movies I've seen, like Scarlett Johansson or Kate Blanchett in,
Oh gosh, I forgot about Kate
I
Blanchett.
usually tend to enjoy just because they're such dramatic actresses
Yes.
that usually if the movie's even not that good, their performance is still pretty fun to watch. So
Scarlett Johansson, Lost in Translation, rocks.
yeah, she's just a powerhouse.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to watch a movie and like just not enjoy her performance. So
Exactly.
You want to know who mine is?
Who?
yeah,
Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman, the one that I brought up last
Swan.
time.
You brought that up
Black
last
Swan.
week, and I am
So-
a huge fan of hers. But
Yeah.
any movie she's in, and it probably takes me back to The Professional. I think that was her first. She was a child actor at the
Yes.
time.
Yeah, she started
And
young too.
That might have been
Yeah.
the best, one of the best child performances I ever saw. I was really convincing.
It was foreign too, right? Like
No.
oh.
No, it was American.
Oh.
Gary Oldman was in it. And,
I know.
Jean Reno.
Yeah, I'm mixing it up with something else. I'm sorry.
Now, understand that my opinions of movies is very narrow because I'm old and I'm grumpy. And I don't like car scenes. I don't like chase scenes. I've seen it. It's done. It's over. I don't like explosions.
I can relate to that.
I'm over it.
Yeah.
I've seen it my whole life. So I tend to not like those. That being said, I thought The Professional was a very, very good movie.
Yes.
Now, the movie I wanted to bring to you all from the 80s. Now, listen, I'm a musician. I'm a traveling musician. That is what I do when I'm not doing this. So any movie with music, I'm going to be, is probably already, if it's any good, in my opinion. That being said, a movie that I think is overlooked, Eddie and the Cruisers.
Oh,
Eddie and the Cruisers.
yes.
I want to say 1983.
Now, see, this one I think I've actually heard of,
That does sound
which is
familiar.
surprising
Let me tell you
because,
about
like
the
I said,
movie.
I'm so young, so I wasn't even born. So
Let me tell you about the movie. It was a fictitious movie about a guy who started a band, Eddie Wilson, in the 60s. They had a huge album that went real big. They got a record label to sign him. They went to do their second album. The critics, the record label didn't like what he was doing because he was trying to take music somewhere else,
Right.
like a Hendrix or whatever. And so he ultimately ended up faking his own death. And the whole movie was, where is Eddie Wilson's, where are the tapes, blah, blah, blah. And it's really good. And the music, oh my God, it was done by John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band. When the music on the dark side, when the song On the Dark Side came out in 83, 84, everybody thought it was Bruce Springsteen. And it rose up the charts. It was a fantastic movie.
Oh, my
But here's
gosh.
the thing. It did not do well in the theaters. I remember because there was no real big names.
interesting, yeah.
And there was a thing that HBO would do when I was a kid. HBO would show movies basically over and over, not back to back, but then they'd show them every other day. And I remember Grease 2 was one of those movies.
Wait a minute, wait. I thought HBO was for rich people. What are you doing on
Well,
HBO? Mike?
when I was not sunbathing off the coast of San Marino.
Right.
But anyway,
You had some money.
apparently, maybe that's why we were poor. We had HBO.
yeah. You didn't get any
Couldn't
Christmas
afford
presents.
electricity.
HBO was it. That's it.
So anyway, we watched this over and over, and not only did, when I say we, my sister and I, but not only did we watch it over and over, but apparently most of America was watching because it got like this huge cult following. Not only that, but when Peyton Manning won the Super Bowl in 2007, they were talking about, they had to fly over to, the next season they had to fly over and do like a game in London. So they had this huge 8-hour flight.
Right.
And they said, what movies did you watch? And Eddie and the Cruisers was one of them.
Interesting.
So how about The Notebook was another, but
That's
that's
cool.
beside the point. So Eddie and the Cruisers.
We won't talk about that.
I would love for you guys, if you get a chance, to watch Eddie and the Cruisers and tell me what you think, and
Yeah,
also to our
definitely.
listener, if they could get back to us on that. And let
I
us
love
know what
movies
they
with
think.
music too.
Let's move on. We've just got a few minutes left, and I want to ask you guys a serious question. Now we're males, obviously. We don't have a
boy.
female voice in this group yet.
Well, I mean, we can
I
try.
say yet.
Okay.
I want to know a movie for you macho guys that made you cry.
Easy.
Okay.
Walk
Yeah.
to Remember.
A Walk to Remember.
Yes.
Diane Lane.
No, Mandy Moore.
Mandy
and-
Moore.
Yes, and Sean. Oh, what was his- I forgot his last.
We can
name.
look that
Wait a
up
minute,
real
wait a
quick.
minute, wait a minute.
Tell us about it a little bit.
Well,
I've not seen it.
It's about this guy named. Well, first it's about this woman by the name of Jamie Sullivan that meets this guy named Landon
Carter.
Yeah,
I found
and
it.
Then he's a little bit of this troublemaker, and they for this project or school thing, they have to come up together for this play, and things he starts to change, and because he starts to fall in love with her, and then once they become very close, when she comes out and says that I mean, probably people already know the story. It's like maybe love story. She has cancer, and then
there it is.
Once she tells him that, that scene alone just made me cry like Halle Berry at the Oscars.
Do you cry easy?
Yeah, that movie started it all. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
He did after that movie. After that movie,
Mandy Moore can make a grown man cry. I mean, if you've seen This Is Us and watched this movie two together, you would be bawling. Like, I mean, you'd be pouring like Niagara Falls. I mean, I'm serious.
Elijah?
You know, I'm embarrassed to say mine because honestly, some of the closest movies that have ever gotten to me to cry were actually intended for children. So,
all right.
Yeah, y'all can laugh.
No, come on.
What our audience didn't see is the stupid smile that just smirked across Mike's face. He was like,
I can't wait.
He was like, oh, really, Elijah?
Come
okay,
on.
So I'll talk about those in a minute. But the first movie that ever made me cry I watched it when I was very young, and I usually didn't cry at movies either. But Where the Red Fern Grows.
Okay.
That movie
the dogs.
That movie just did something to me.
I'm not familiar with this movie. I've heard of it. Tell me about it.
You haven't seen Where the Red Fern Grows?
No, tell me a little bit about it.
It's a classic.
It's a classic. It was originally a book, and it's about this kid who wants. I don't like dog movies. Really, I think they're a little bit overdone. Y'all can kill me about that later. But this was a dog movie, but it was much less about the dogs being the main focus and more about just the kid and what he had to go through with these dogs. Is much more what it was about. And
like Old Yeller.
This is basically exactly. And this is basically a kid he wanted dogs. And this is back, I mean, I don't know when was this movie? This is like Pioneer Days or something like that. I mean, it's like the movie's not that old, but that's the time period that it was, done in. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to spoil anything. I mean, y'all can probably guess what happens. Most people have probably seen this movie.
Yeah, no dog
but,
movies.
if you know dog movies, you know how it ends. And I just remember just being, the way they did it, I was just utterly distraught. And the book is even worse, just the way the descriptions were. So that one. And, I'd say that's probably the one that made me cry the most. And the most recent one was the one that just, anybody see Endgame yet?
No.
No, I'm nervous.
I'm not going to talk about it.
I'm going to see it Wednesday, and I'm just everybody I know said like they were crying. I'm like, no, please.
I'm not gonna talk about it, but yeah, I was.
Okay.
The latest movie that made me cry was Coco.
Yes. That one. Oh my gosh.
Not the monkey?
That one. No. What the?
Well, there was a monkey they sent in space or something, or
something
no, it was a sign language. Yeah.
Sign language. Well, not in space. It was like okay.
Anyway,
but it was like Coco. What's that? A stereotypical monkey name or something? Gosh.
Yeah, no, it was a famous monkey back in the 80s. They taught it sign language or something.
No. There was that. Yeah, honestly, that one and Inside Out. The two Pixar movies are two of the movies that got me like closest to crying. Up. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Most Pixar movies. Most Pixar movies will like. That's what I hear the last.
Toy Story. Yeah, that's what I was saying. The final.
Tim Allen said like it'll get you crying. So I'm like.
Yeah, and the third one hurt me. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I was like,
oh my gosh.
I mean, I thought they were all dead.
Since you guys did two, I'm going to do two.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
There was one from when I was a little kid with Ricky Schroeder called The Champ.
Yes.
Where you have to see it. The final scene in that is unbelievable. But my number one movie that comes to mind is Field of Dreams. Because there's a scene at the end, and the whole movie, he's thinking that you're supposed to build this baseball. Have you seen it, by the way?
Nope, neither of those.
He's supposed to build this baseball field, and he's thinking it's for Shoeless Joe Jackson, the old baseball player that got banned from baseball for cheating, but he didn't. And it turned out it was actually for his father and him. And at the end, he says, "You want to have a catch?" And of course, made me think about my dad and I
Oh,
playing catch.
man.
And my dad and I don't have the best relationship, so it
Oh my god.
That makes me want to cry. That makes me want to cry just thinking about that.
it
That-
hurt. I couldn't. I mean, I was trying not to cry. My face was like cramping up. You know
Oh
what I
yeah,
mean?
well that's the same. That's mostly. I always try not to cry in the
Yeah.
movies, but like I mean, some movies, you know, especially the Pixar films, they will just
Yes.
wrench at my heart.
The
Gosh,
champ
I'm
field
ner-
of dreams. Yeah.
I'm nervous about Toy Story now. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You've not
because-
seen it?
Well, no,
Toy Story
no,
4.
four.
Toy
The
Story
fourth one, fourth one, because
Yeah.
because the last thing I remember hearing on Facebook or something like that, they said this is Tim Allen's last voice of Woody. I'm like, I hope this is not what I think. I'm like,
no.
oh my
Wait a minute.
gosh. Oh my
Tim
gosh.
Allen's not Woody.
I mean, not Woody.
Tim Allen's Buzz.
I mean,
I know
sorry,
that
but I mean, Tom
Oh,
Hanks. Tom Hanks.
Bruce.
I'm sorry. I mean, Tom Hanks.
The Inconceivable
They-
movie
Sorry.
master.
Sorry,
I'm
Tom
forgive
Hanks.
me, but they sound alike. I'm sorry. I love
They
Bruce-
do both have very low,
sorry.
raspy
Bruce,
voices.
Elijah.
I'm sorry.
I have no trivia questions for you. We're running out of time. We'll make up for that next time.
Yeah,
Yes.
However, we need to talk about a movie. We got some homework for next week.
Okay.
So not only do we have to watch these movies, but we need our listener to watch the movie. Bruce, you need to pick an old black and white movie. You got one for us?
I think so. Little Caesar.
Little Caesar.
Yes, with Edward G.
So the pizza,
Robinson?
the pizza man.
The guy that that's
What
like
year? You have a clue?
1931. It's really old.
My
and,
grandmother wasn't
yeah,
even
he's
born
like,
yet.
it's like, and it has that line.
But you
"All right,
were,
is this
right?
the timely
Yes.
end of Rico? Yeah, you know.
What
is
did it say?
Is this the timely end? I mean, is this the end of Rico? You know, like Mercy.
Mercy.
Yeah, you know. Yeah.
Dave Chappelle did a whole routine
Yeah,
when he
see?
talks to the
Yeah.
cops. He talks like an old timey gangster. No, see, here's
Yeah.
my license, see.
Yeah, see,
Ah.
you dirty rat.
Yeah.
No, that's not.
Take the
that's-
keep the change, you filthy.
Yeah,
animal.
yeah,
Yeah.
But that's not really a real, you know. But
Yeah. It should have
Elijah.
it should have been.
Bring us a movie.
All right, so this is going to be a touchy subject, but Bruce, I'm sure you've seen this. So have you seen the really probably overrated film? At least that's what a lot of people are calling it, Black Panther.
Yes.
So this
I know is that what you want to bring?
this was and let me tell you why.
No, it's fine because it's on Netflix. I'm good with it.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So here's the thing. People think that movie's highly overrated. So I'm gonna gotta go backwards here, and I'm gonna talk about. People think that this is one of the movies where the critics think it's overrated, but then some of the audience members like it, but then other audience members are like, no,
like
well,
it's
I don't
lit,
get the
yeah.
appeal. And so I want to talk about it because I want to talk about why I think it actually
is good.
is good
Okay.
and not overrated.
Did you
So-
like it as well?
I loved it. I mean,
Okay.
Michael
Yeah.
B. Jordan. Heck yes.
Oh yeah. So that'll be an interesting one to talk about.
So Little Caesar. My guess is 1931. My guess is it's probably on YouTube. Did it win any kind of Oscars?
It got nominated for Best Original Screenplay. It should have won. It should have got nominated and won for Best Actor for Edward G.
Okay. So my guess is if you go on to Turner Classic Movies or AMC or whatever
Yeah,
the channel
yeah,
is, if you look forward and it'll give you a list of the
I
movies.
think so. I
You might
think
you'll probably be on there at some point.
Yeah, or you, or you could borrow it from me. I mean,
Or you can borrow it from Bruce. You didn't have a line outside your door.
I need to have.
So what about you? What
In
about
your
you, Archer?
movies, Black Panther.
Black Panther. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see, my movie. I haven't really given it much thought, to be honest with you. But see, I said the last two movies that I did was The Natural and what was the other one I did today just now? I've already forgotten because I'm
Wow,
old.
I must not have been
Field
paying
of
attention.
Dreams?
Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
Field of
No,
Dreams.
that was the movie that made
That was
you
the movie
cry.
that made me cry.
Oh yeah.
Eddie and the Cruisers. I talked about Eddie
Yeah,
and the
oh,
Cruisers.
yeah,
That's what it was.
I'll listen back
that
to the
was it,
recording
that
and
was
yeah.
it, that was it.
Fill it in.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be
Little
like, I
edit.
think that was it.
That was it.
Yeah,
was it.
we all remembered.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
everybody but me.
Yeah.
But the movie I would like to bring for next week, let me think. Well, I had it in my head. Now I've already forgotten. I know what it is. It's, you know how you're supposed to identify with the main character?
Yeah.
Well, everybody, thinks that they're a certain main character, but they're probably not. Well, the one that I most identified with was Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh yeah.
So that's the movie I would like to bring for next week. So
Can I tell you what who I feel like I'm
Sure.
That's right, because I think
yeah.
you told us that we were
Yeah.
supposed to talk about
Yeah,
characters we're related to, didn't you?
Mine,
Well, we'll bring up for next week.
yeah,
Yeah. We're
Mine
gonna-
personally though is Forrest Gump. I feel like. I mean,
yeah.
You run like that, do you?
well, no. Well, I try.
That's because
I
he
try,
was
I
because
try.
he was
Yeah, and like
what do you
changed
call
a
it?
lot of lives and stuff like that
Yeah.
because of it. And he didn't let his disability stop him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that. I don't want to brag or anything or be
But I agree.
You know what I
That's what
mean.
you do.
You know what I mean.
That'll be
You
great to talk
are
about.
the
Yes.
Inconceivable movie master.
Yeah,
So we
don't
love it.
downplay
Yes,
yourself.
don't downplay
right?
myself.
So that's all we have for today. I hope some of that made some sense. Again, can you give us our email again?
Yeah. So again, moviemasters030@gmail.com. Email us there, and I'm gonna get all three of you on it so that we can all answer. And if you want to ask a question specifically, just
questions,
say our
trivia,
name. Just say our name before it, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Why
reviews,
not?
stuff like that. We are anxiously waiting your response. So thank you, gentlemen. We'll be back here same time and same place next week.
Yes, sir.
See y'all then.
Thank you. Bye bye.